Raven fans. Gotta get used to getting on camera. Looking cool. Hello, Raven fans, Oriole fans. This is Charles, the owner of Ravori Sports. Thank you for joining us here for our weekly Ravori Sports podcast, the Baltimore Sports Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. Watch us on all of our social media platforms. So we're live on YouTube if you're watching this, or you're on Facebook, or you're on our Twitch channel watching this right now. Also, too, we have all the social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. So we definitely have a lot of our information on those as well. So definitely check us out there. Okay? Our merchandise is available on our Facebook page for now. So it will be ravorisports.com. We are still working on that. We apologize for the delay on that. But definitely, if you are interested in any of the merchandise, Ravens and Orioles stuff, it is on the Ravori Sports Facebook page. Send me a message or ravorisports@gmail.com. All right. Also, to last bit of business, Genesis Notary Services. This is for those of you in the Shenandoah Valley area. So definitely, if you live in the Shenandoah Valley area, you can go to Ravori Sports Genesis Notary Services. So definitely, we can go ahead and get that taken care of for you as well. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today as well. So we've had a lot go on. This is what I call the nerds time of the year for sports and football. If you are interested in this type of stuff here this time of year, that means you are a real football nerd, like I am. Like a lot of us are. The player movement is very fascinating to find out what's going on with all the players, where everybody's going, how your team is going to look next year, speculate on who's going where in general. Let me do a brief overview first. Overall, my takeaways so far. Money is down. I think the quarterback salaries are really affecting some of these contracts. Even at premium positions like wide receiver, cornerback, not so much offensive line. I've seen a lot of money go on the offensive line. But there are a lot of money it seems like teams are struggling with the cap. I think it's because of the quarterback salaries. Look, there were a lot of teams that were very much struggling with the salary cap. And I think you're seeing it in some of these contracts. A lot of guys are going back. We're going to go over here in a second. You see a lot of guys going back to their original teams. Let's go over that. What's exactly going on here? Let's get it up there. Big defensive tackle for the Eagles last year. Very instrumental, former Steeler as well. Jerron Hargrave. Outstanding season, 11 sacks. He's going to San Fran. So, wow, he's going to be good on that defense here. They have a great defense. Jawan Taylor. This is a big deal. Jawan Taylor going from, looks like Jack's going to Kansas City. So, he's going to go ahead and play for the Chiefs. Orlando Brown has not signed. That's a thing. Okay. Orlando Brown, I think, is finding out what people think of him as a left tackle. This is the second team now that's kind of said no to him as a long-term left tackle. Because they're spending $80 million. So it's not like they can't even say, well, what's the cap or whatever. I don't think they think that he would be as good as a left tackle as this guy. That's got to be what – I mean, you spend this type of money, so it's not the money. It's not like, okay, well, you're playing a rookie. You got to play somebody with it. That wasn't what it was. So, yeah, that's a big Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown also has not yet signed as of this recording as we're doing this now. So we're doing this recording here on Wednesday at 3:15. So he has not signed yet. Jamal Dean, he was the top cornerback in the class. Now, not bad. 4 years, $52 million. But again, a lot of cornerbacks, $20 million, $17 million. He was the highest one. That says something, okay? And also, too, like James Bradbury, the next one, 3 years, $38 million. They were pretty much the top two, pretty much got the best offers from the teams they were on. So that tells me when a guy makes it to free agency like that, and the best offer is from the team that they were with, that there wasn't a lot of out there. There wasn't a lot of huge offers out there. A lot of times, that's a tell. Tremaine Edmonds goes, takes some of that Bears cap space. 24 years old, 4 years, $72 million. So, thing is, they had Roquan Smith. I don't know if this is the offer they made him, but they spent a lot of money on linebacker for a team that just let Roquan Smith go. That was the only thing I get. Bears definitely got better, though, as a whole. Let's go forward. Mike McGlinchey, 28 years old, 5 years, 87.5 million dollars. Not 800 million, but a lot of money. McClinchy goes ahead and signs, goes from Stanford, goes to Denver. Denver spent a lot of money on the line. They also, the other day, we went to video, they signed Ben Powers. They're getting things ready. Sean Payton, he's telling you what he wants to do. He wants to go ahead and run the football. Jesse Bates, I think he's kind of overrated. Jesse Bates, I've been ragging on the Bengals secondary. He goes to Atlanta, 4 years, $64 million. Yeah, I don't like him as much as a lot of the league seems to like him. Athletically isn't the issue. I kind of see him do things sometimes that are just not always focused. That's one way to put it. Dallas to cut. This just came in recently. Dallas is going to cut Zeke Elliott. So this handwriting's been on the wall. They went ahead and franchised Tony Pollard, $10 million. Zeke Elliott was making I think it was $16 million. So they're going to go ahead and let him go hit the open market. Don't know if there's a buyer for him. Kind of fell quickly there. I think they kind of. I thought he took a lot of unnecessary criticism, but again, Tony Pollard is the guy for them. They want to go ahead and use him going forward. That makes a lot of sense. He's a little bit younger. Caleb Gary, 3 years, $34 million for Atlanta. Jamar Jones, very good D tackle. He's going out to Seattle. 3 years, $51 million per. $51 million total. I think D tackles kind of made a comeback here. Jerron Payne got a big deal. This is a big deal. A lot more large contracts coming out there. Couple more things we want to go over. Receiver market. Ravens need a receiver in the worst way. Very soft. Jacoby Myers signed with Oakland. There you go. Las Vegas. Think of him as the Oakland Raiders. He signed with Las Vegas. Makes sense that he did that because the connection with Josh McDaniels. He was in New England along with Josh McDaniels. So this is a guy that McDaniels is familiar with. Same with Al Lazard, who signs with the Jets. We'll get to Aaron Rodgers in a second. But Nathaniel Hackett is there. He goes ahead and signs there. But that's been it. Very quiet. A lot of these guys, DeAndre Hopkins, I haven't heard anything on D-Hop as far as him signing. The rumor was today I heard Bill Belichick is talking to him or has made an overture to Arizona. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think he's the number one guy out there in free agency. Chiefs haven't re-signed him. And no other team has yet signed him. I kind of got the feeling, I heard that they maybe were interested in re-signing him. I kind of got the feeling with the Chiefs, though, they really want to see Kadarius Toney as the number one receiver. I'm kind of thinking that's what they're going to do. They have Marquez Scanlon. They have Sky Moore they drafted. I think that's – I don't think they're going to reinvest in him. He did better than I thought. So I think he would be available because it hasn't happened yet. So we'll still see. Nothing on Odell. I think Odell's going to take longer. I don't think any team is going to meet a hefty contract demand from him. Not that I heard that he is, but Odell is not going to go ahead and you don't know what you're getting from Odell. You don't know what you're getting from Odell Beckham. I think he's a good receiver. He may still be a number one receiver. We just don't know. It's been so long since we've seen him. Put G.J. Chark here. I've heard that everywhere. A lot of times people are linking G.J. Chark to the Ravens. I'm not so sure. pretty good. I think he's kind of, you could put him in the bucket with an Alan Lazard or whatever. He's that next tier down. I think he's a complimentary receiver. That's not, I don't think, what the Ravens need. That maybe what they have to do, but I don't think that's what the Ravens need. If you sign a DJ Chark, he's not a number one receiver. He's not a number one receiver. He's not going to be a number one receiver. I think the first three guys I had, Schuster, Beckham, and DeAndre Hopkins, maybe they're not either, but to me, there's a good chance. DJ Chark, I think, is a mid-level receiver. I think that's about, you'll get production like you had this year, 700 yards, etc. Look, let me tell you something. Any of it's better than what we had this year. The receivers were god-awful, but that's what you probably get from DJ Chark. Hunter Renfro's name is on the list because we said it was signed Jacoby Myers. So they signed Jacoby Myers, the Raiders. So Hunter Renfro, maybe the Ravens want to make a call, or a couple of teams make a call, seeing his availability. Hunter Renfro, I think, is a good fit, I think, on any team. I think he's a guy, I'm tempted to say, for the Ravens, again, all these guys will be number one receivers because I think the receiver is bad, except for maybe if you get Bateman healthy. But he's a slot receiver. A lot of Wes Welker in him, a lot of Julian Edelman, and that he's that type of guy. He's a guy that you could play in the slot or whatever. Maybe he can do. I mean, he maybe will get you 1,000 yards a little bit more, but he kind of has a lane he's in. So that's what you would go ahead and do. Shout out Aaron Rodgers. We're going to talk about. Shout out to I'm going to say our guy Pat McAfee. I was just before we were recording this checking out what Aaron was going to say, like a lot of people. I have never seen a YouTube stream with 500,000 people. There was 450,000 people to watch Aaron Rodgers see what he was going to say. So shout out to Pat McAfee getting that done. And yes, Aaron Rodgers is saying he intends to play for the Jets. This was that's exactly what he said out of his own mouth on the Pat McAfee show. He is going to go to New York. They're still working out the compensation. That is his intent for the season. This is kind of what we suspected, that the Packers were done with him. I kind of said that early in the offseason. I think the Packers honestly have been done with him. I think the Packers have definitely wanted to move on from him for the last couple years. I think what happened was Aaron played so well and Rodgers didn't play well. And Jordan loved it. And so they went ahead and they just kept it going. Hey, they were out in the first round. And so now they will go ahead and move on from Aaron Rodgers. I think he's gone regardless. I don't think he has a spot. I think that's going to be Jordan's love team, and I think the Jets are going to go ahead and get it. I think probably what the slow pace is, what he was saying, was compensation on the part of the two teams. He has a big contract. How much of that contract are the Packers going to eat? And also to the draft picks. They got to get something, I'm sure. The Packers want draft picks. I don't know if they're going to get a first round. They're going to get something for Aaron Rodgers. So, good move for the Jets. Let's talk about the football side of it real quick for both teams. Jets, I think there's no brain here. They everything but a quarterback. I think if for whatever reason this didn't happen, they would be in on Lamar. I think, but Aaron Rodgers is going to cost them a lot less. So I do understand that. That's why I think it's more Aaron Rodgers than Lamar Jackson here. Although I think there is a universe where they might take Lamar. I think that's actually correct. I think there is a universe where they actually might take Lamar if this was to fall through. This is happening. I think the compensation and everything get worked out. Jets will be in the playoff run more next year. Tough AFC, got to compete. Last year they had Zach Wilson, they had Mike White, they had Joe Flacco. This is a guy that you know is going to get you yards and production in the offensive side of the ball. You got a young receiver, Garrett Wilson, Bryce Hall. I think this is a no-brainer for the Jets to do. In the long term, how does it work out? I don't know. But no-brainer for next season, the Jets. Packers, end of an era, end of a long era. Think about this with the Packers. 30 years, okay, since 91, Brett Favre entered the league. And I think I've said this, I'm going to say this on camera for the first time. Since 91, I think it was 91 when Brett Favre came to the Packers. The Packers have been able to say, and now we're in 2023, we've had the best quarterback in the NFL. Think about that. That's 30 years. You've been able to say, now you could say during that time, well, Favre wasn't the best. It was Steve Young, Trey Aikman, whoever during his era. In the Rodgers era, you could say, well, it wasn't him. It was Brady. It was Manning, whatever. But there's a case to be made that they had the best quarterback, at least in the top 5 for the last 30 years. Now you're in an era with Jordan Love, and this is the end of a long era for the Packers. Like that. Let's see now how they do without their great quarterback. They've had it for so long. Let's see how Jordan Love does, etc. Division, obviously, Bears had a lot of cap space, make a lot of changes. That division's wide open now. They didn't win it again this year, so I think that's why the Packers were emboldened. Well, we're tired of this guy anyway. If we're not going to do anything but get knocked out in the first round or get knocked out right for the wild card, let's just go and try and do it well. Let's just see what we have and see if we have to do anything else. So, big news. Shout out again, 500,000 people. My goodness, on a YouTube stream to watch what Aaron Rodgers was going to do. So shout out to Pat McAfee. Lamar. He's been saying quite a few things lately. Lamar he's been on social media talking about the contract, etc. I don't know at this point how this ever gets resolved. It seems like this is never-ending story. It was great. When I was a little kid, watched the Never-Ending Story movie. It was a great movie, and this is what this has turned into. I'm waiting for the Luck Dragon and everything. I'm like, come on. We're no closer to a result. He was popped off on social media. Adam Schefter, some of the numbers were leaked about the deal, the longer-term deal. He said that's never been more than $133 million guaranteed deal that's been offered. They've never had any more than 133 guaranteed. There's a deal I was seeing that was reported 175 for, I think there were practical guarantees, possibly other guarantees, and 200 million. I'm throwing that number out because you'd have to stay on the roster 3 years. Who knows if you'd ever get that part of it. Then there's a report out saying there was 133 million guaranteed total deal that was offered. That was fully guaranteed, but it was only like a 3-year deal. So we're no closer to resolution on this thing. I will say this, and I do have this to add on the Lamar thing. It doesn't seem like the Ravens have moved at all in their offer. Doesn't seem like it. A lot of times when you negotiate, what you're hoping for is you go up and they go down. You go up and they go down. Whatever that is, whatever side you're on. Okay, so if I want more, you want them to. If I'm like, for instance, I'm on this side, and I'm on Lamar's side, and I want more money, and I'm the Ravens side, and I want you to get less money. I want you to come up, and maybe I come down a little bit if you come up a little bit. The Ravens are right here. They haven't moved. They've offered this same deal, I think, in various forms. That, and again, I don't have any reporting on this, but that kind of sounds like the Ravens MO, where they kind of stay. They don't really negotiate. They really don't change offers 4 or 5 times for one of her. They kind of make the same offer. They kind of okay, even in free agency, I've noticed that definitely throughout the years. They don't do bidding wars per se. That's why they kind of like make the best offer to a certain player, best offer they can, and that's the offer. Some people negotiate like that. Okay, we're not doing 4 or 5. We're not. This is the offer. So I think that's kind of what's going on with Lamar. So we will see. This is the never-ending story. This is continuing to go on. Hopefully, we can get a resolution and get Lamar under center for the season next season. So again, lots of NFL and free agency news that is going on. It's still ongoing. So day 3, I did a video for day 1. I didn't do a video for day 2 simply because not a lot happened for the Ravens side. And again, I think this year, I think numbers have been down. A lot of guys staying the same. The whole Aaron Rodgers thing has been a big deal. Derek Carr signed with the but it's been not as activity. Receivers still waiting. Lots of running backs unsigned. Miles Sanders, big part of what they did last year, unsigned. Orlando Brown, unsigned. Odell. So we're continuing to monitor this, the NFL free agency, and we will go ahead and take a look as we go forward. Now, also too, going into March Madness. So we got a basketball game. Tomorrow we got a basketball game. West Virginia, the Mountaineers, going against the Maryland, the 8 seed. The 9-8 game. Usually what is supposed to be the best game in the first round because the two teams are so evenly matched. That is correct here. Absolutely. The two teams are absolutely evenly matched here. You have Maryland and West Virginia. Two teams. One has a real veteran coach. Not that Kevin Willard isn't a veteran, but a guy who's been around for a long time. Head coach Bob Huggins is the head coach for West Virginia. I think of him more of the years as a West Virginia guy, as a Cincinnati guy. For many years, he was the coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats. He was kind of the one team in that old Metro Conference. Showing my age there. Talking about the Metro Conference. That had a really good team. Cincinnati was really good. So definitely we want to go ahead and get that taken care of. West Virginia coach Bob Huggins. Who's there in West Virginia? So who's on the team? Their roster makeup is very similar to Maryland, what you're seeing. They have a lot of guys that are experienced guys, and also that are guys that are from different teams. So similar to Maryland, which has the best player basically from a different school. This is the case with West Virginia. Eric Stevenson is the guy. They list him as, so he's at least 6'8", 6'9". Really what he does, runs behind screens, goes ahead and shoots the ball well, has good shooting nights. I don't think he's as consistent. I think that's the reason why they're 8 seed, not higher. I don't think he's as consistent as they'd like him to be, but he's a very good player. Runs behind screens. He's a big, like that. Best way to describe it. One of these big shooters makes sense. Kind of like when I see a lot of Dan Marley with him. That makes sense. He's an older guy, like a 6'6", 6'7" guy that runs behind screen, shoots the ball well. Doesn't put the ball on the floor as well for me when I've seen him, but really he's their leading scorer. He's their main guy to go ahead and score 15 points a game, 3.5 assists. Good all-around numbers there for Aaron Stevenson. Trey Mitchell, kind of their meat and potatoes there. He's their leading rebounder, 11 points a game, 5.5 rebounds, 1.6 a game, 5.5 rebounds a game. He is the good piece of meat and potatoes. See a lot of Hakeem Hart with him. See a lot of that in him. Like, he's a guy that goes ahead and gets the rebounds. They don't really run into plays for him. He's the guy you want to keep off the glass. He's probably the best rebounder there. Not a lot of height that they have on this team. So size-wise, Maryland and West Virginia should go ahead and match up very well. Those guys. Kerryon Johnson is their point guard. Doesn't shoot the ball great. They kept showing video. I don't like his shot. They kept showing, when I kept watching video, they kept trying to show me video that he was. I wasn't that impressed with him. I think if he shoots, he's one of these guys. I think if he shoots the ball enough times, his scoring average would be higher. Put it like that. But he distributes well. He runs the ball. He runs through the lane well. I think I would definitely put Jameer Young on him defensively, or Hakeem Hart on him. Make sure that he's the guy that keeps the ball out of Stevens' hands. I think that's the thing that he does best as far as getting that taken care of. This graphic doesn't want to pull up. Okay, got that squared away. So Maryland is the 8th seed, and they are playing West Virginia. West Virginia, two teams that are very similar in style. I think West Virginia pushes harder on the defensive end. Style, Huggins, that's the way it is, hard defense. Maryland has a lot of very good defensive players on their team. So if they are successful in winning this game, finally we got the graphic up. All right. So if they are successful in winning this game, most likely you're going to play the number 1 seed, Alabama, who's been the best team in the country. So it'll essentially be a home game for Alabama if Maryland is able to be successful. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead after the game as well, do a react video. We're going to do a little react video for that. The game is on 12:15 on. Let's get back up here. Sorry, 12:15 on Thursday, the 16th. So that game will be on CBS. So the great Jim Nantz will be calling that game. Jim Nantz, by the way, his last, from what I understand, he's stepping down as the NCAA announcer. Him and Raftery, I don't know about Raftery stepping down, but Jim Nantz, this will be his last one as the primary announcer for the NCAA tournament. So he will no longer be doing it after this season. Probably just stick with his golf and NFL after that. So good announcing. You're going to go for this game. It's a tough draw for the Terps. I think West Virginia is really good. I think they're a good matchup, though, for West Virginia. I'm obviously rooting for the Terps and think they will win this game. But these games you never know on neutral site in the first round. Who shows up, who has energy, who doesn't. These two teams are very evenly matched, definitely by the seeds. So we're going to go ahead and root for the Terps to go ahead and get to the second round of the NCAAs. Good job, though, by Kevin Rowland. The Terps really needed it. I wasn't as hard on Mark Turgeon, the previous coach, as a lot of people were. But whatever it was, they were sick of him. They were sick of him as the head coach. They were sick of that whole deal. So good for him. Mark Turgeon, no longer there. Kevin Rowland doing a great job. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit more baseball this week and going forward. So as we go out, I think also, too, after the draft, I want to say this again, as far as the channel. After the NFL draft, we're going to do another mock draft, post-free agency mock draft. We're going to do a lot of NFL stuff still. But as we go past the draft, we're going to do a little bit more baseball because now we're going to have games. We're going to have games here. Season starts at the end of March. We're going to have a lot of content there. NFL kind of slows down a bit. So once we get around this week, the beginning of the league year, Then it kind of shifts back into draft mode. We're going to go draft on draft day. Then after that, football starts again in August. So all I meant to say, and that's a roundabout way of saying there'll be more baseball content on this channel going forward. And college football hasn't started, so it'll be baseball. One of the reasons I've always liked baseball is this reason. It kind of keeps you company during the summer. John Miller would say that keeps you company all summer long. And that's what I feel about baseball. So this week we're going to do a little bit of MLB content. We're going to ask some questions here about MLB, not just the Orioles this week. We're going to obviously talk about the Orioles, but just Orioles content as well in these questions here. What is the best run franchise in Major League Baseball? The obvious one for me, a lot of people I think would say is the Yankees, the Cubs, the Dodgers. I kind of unfairly or whatever eliminate that group here, like the three major cities, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. They have so much more resources than other teams. It's hard to see if they're the best one or not because they have so much more money. The Orioles have been complaining about the Chris Davis contract for so long, but the Yankees have 5 of those. Harrison Bader, LeMahieu, a lot of these guys, they have a lot of deals all the time that don't work out, and they just do it again. So they have so many more resources. It's hard for me to put them in that category, even though a lot of them have had success. So who is the best run franchise? 3 teams I'm going to put in the honorable mention category. Not so much this year, but the Giants. I have no problem if somebody says that. I think they've been fairly well run. I think over the year, I think they've kind of slipped the last 2 years, but I think they've been a model. They've had a lot of they've had a lot of consistency with everything. If you say Tampa, I'm not going to argue too hard either. They have no resources and they're winning. It's hard to argue that. They have a strategy. They know what they are, and they execute the strategy. Hey, look, all of our $3 million, Shane Afflin, one guy, we're going to have starting pitching on the team. That seems to be the teams that are successful in small markets. That's kind of what they're doing. So I got no problem if you say that. The answer I think most people would give is Houston, because they obviously won the World Series last year. They've been very good the last few years. They actually lost players. They had a bad issue with the cheating and all that foolishness, and they were able to build it back up. And they have another group of young players to the point where they won the World Series. So I have no real problem with you if you say Houston. I think that's it. What I'm going to say, the 2 teams, and I put 2 teams and not just one, because I think they're exactly. I couldn't separate one. Atlanta Braves is one. And along with the St. Louis Cardinals. Braves are a great example of what's going on now. They almost, for the first time in forever, have no young prospects top 50 in the system. They're all, why is that? That's because they're all in major leagues. They're full of young, good players, the major league levels. Acuna and Sean Murphy and Austin Riley and a lot of these guys. They're so full, and they always have these good young players. Pitching has always been really good as well for them. They develop players. Sometimes they have to let a Freddie Freeman go or let guys go. That's okay because they're building it as they go as far as their team. St. Louis, I put them right there as well. I think Atlanta has more resources. Nowadays, Atlanta and that city is, you can almost call that one Hollywood East. Not quite at that level, but it's more there than it used to be. St. Louis, that's definitely not the case. St. Louis is a great balance of veteran guys, signing guys, making the commitment. They have Goldsmith, they have Arenado, and they always seem to have good young players. They always seem to have guys that's coming up. Jordan Walker coming up and a lot of these guys. They always seem to have that. And always have guys, I think, too, more than even the Braves, guys that aren't necessarily top 50, top 100 all the time. Guys who are good in AAA, guys who are good through levels. So I think the Cardinals and the Braves, I put those two in the top spot as far as the best run franchises in the MLB. Will Aaron Judge repeat 62 home runs this season? No. no, he's not gonna hit 62. I think they just need him to stay healthy. He's so important for them. They are not a playoff team without Aaron Judge. They are so heavily reliant on him. Already, the Yankees have had a lot of injuries. He's not. He's going to be at 50. I can tell you, he stays healthy. This guy for sure. The only problem really he's ever had is staying healthy. Him and Stanton and those guys, he's going to get 50 home runs. Now installed as captain, so I'm sure he's motivated even more than he was. I know that's a rare thing for Yankee captains to have that. I'm surprised that they haven't had one since Derek Jeter retired, and I thought Paul O'Neill was one, but I think it was Manley before that. So it's very rare to have that as the Yankee captain. So added that he's not going to hit 60 home runs. He'll be in the 50. Shohei Ohtani, will he go ahead and sign with the Angels? I'm not sure about this. I can say this. I'm not in this camp. There's so many people that are in the camp that this is a fait accompli, and I hear a lot of these big market guys. He signs with the Mets and the Yankees or whatever. I don't know about that. I don't. I think he may want to leave the Angels because they haven't been very good, frankly. I mean, he can't do any more for him than what he's done. I mean, he's been sensational the last 2 years. I mean, he's been pitching and hitting. Historic stuff for Shohei Ohtani. But if he can't win with that, then I don't know. I think he may want to leave. I don't think it's a fait accompli. If the Angels can find a way to win, I think he might stay. I really do. But that's a big if. It seems like they always have these pitching injuries that cost them. And they should be winning more games. I mean, they put resources. Some of them have hit. You had Mike Trout's really good. He's really good on the mound. So we'll see. But I'm not sure. I think if they're really bad again, under 500 like they've been, I think they deal him. I think he may want out, because it's not working. But he's going to play well. He's going to play well. If he leaves, I think it's too hard to predict. Every team in the league will take up scenario time. Every team in the league that can afford his contract, and I think teams that even couldn't afford it would make it. Hey, look, we can get a great pitcher and a great hitter. He may win soccer. He's really that good as a pitcher. What happens to Juan Soto after this year? Oh, wow. Padres have spent a lot of money. It was a bit of a surprise they signed Manny Machado again. I think he was kind of wanting the contract, and they signed him for 11 years. So we kind of maybe thought that maybe Manny was on his way out. They went ahead and re-upped and did that. So I wonder how much more money the Padres are going to spend. I mean, Manny, good for him. Because he was the guy that got the ball rolling for them. They were a team just with prospects. I think Manny, Machado, and Darvish. Soto, I think this is more likely New York or whatever. I think I could absolutely see him doing that. The type of money he's asking for, he turned down the Nats big deal. The type of money he's asking for, I don't think a lot of teams are going to be able to pay. So if the Nationals couldn't work this out and they were doing everything they could to do it, and so far the Padres haven't, it could be the Padres. I think the Padres still may. I mean, they're spending a lot of money. I think it could still be the Padres. I don't think, but if I had to place a bet, $1 Canadian, American. I think Juan Soto signs I think he probably signs in New York or because he's asking for a whole lot of money. I mean, he's asking for excess of I think it'll be over 300 million. And also too now he's seen the contracts that have went out. Name Chilo's deal, Trey Turner, etc. I mean, he's going to want a whole lot. I mean, he's a young guy. He may want. I mean, maybe that deal Correa almost got. I could absolutely see Juan Soto getting a deal like that. All right, one more here. Will the Orioles win the World Series? No, I don't think so. Oh, it breaks my heart. This has been 40 years now. Last time the Orioles won the World Series, I was 6 years old. Yeah, that's about right. Because I was 6 years old, I'm 46 now. So, yeah, it's been a long time since we had the World Series. I don't know if I don't think they win the World Series. We'll do a full more on that when we use our MLB predictions video at the course of it at the end of the month. We'll do more with that. The Orioles, I think. First of all, I'd love to see it. I always root for the Orioles. Look, I have my Oriole hat on right now. I keep it on a lot of the time. I obviously take my hat off sometimes, but I'll never want to record a video because I'm selling hats. So, right, and all that. I think the Orioles will not. I don't see how you win the World Series. I don't think your pitching is strong enough to go ahead and beat these teams. We'll see how good Cole Irvin's look. I think really good in spring. Couldn't he be that type of guy? I think they're hoping for that. John Means, if he comes back, he can finally stay healthy after all these injuries he's had. We're hoping for that. I'm not sure you have quite enough pitching to go ahead and do that. Your bullpen should be really good regardless. I think Batista, you got to get him back healthy. He really hasn't pitched in spring at all. But I don't think you have enough in the American League to win the World Series. I think you have Yankees. I think it's a little sketchy with them. They're boomer, but they're really good at when they have Judge and Stanton and Rizzo, and they have outstanding starting pitching. I think you may have the Yankees ahead of you. I think you have the Rangers ahead of you, Astros ahead of you, Mariners ahead of you. And I think you have the White Sox ahead. I think there is a team. I think the Orioles, had they been in the Central, they'd have a better shot to win the division. I don't think you have much chance to win it in the West as you do in the East. But we'll see. I would nothing more than to see the Orioles go ahead and win the World Series and get that taken care of. But we've been waiting a long time. We've been waiting a long time, and I would say most of you, especially on YouTube or Twitch, probably not even old enough to ever have had. At least I was about 6 years old the last time the Orioles won the World Series. So keep that in mind there. So there you go, and that will go take us into our MLB predictions video that we're going to release. I think I've I've absolutely figured out now that these videos are way too long if I do the predictions video. So now the predictions videos are all gone. They're going to be standalone videos, the predictions videos as well. One more thing here. Spring report. So Orioles are spring training. Fortunately, we have to run reports because we can't watch too many of the games on Massive, which is not good. I'm going to sign up here for Massive here pretty soon because I don't have. I'm basically a cord cutter, and so to watch the game this season, I need to watch the game clocks. So we're going to sign up here for Massive here in this house pretty soon, so we can go ahead and watch the game. Massive, I think website is fine. And I repost stuff. I have no problem. Again, as much as I'm ripping them, have no problem with any of the Yankees, the website, Rock Had a Bottle, shout out him, a lot of those guys. I have none of them. Not talking about that. I'm only talking about the management business side of it. And the content outside of the and the Nets. Orioles spring training report. Obviously Dean Kramer, Anthony Santander, and Cedric Mullins are at the World Baseball Classic. So that is going on right now for the Orioles. Brian Barker struggling a bit. Kind of heard that from the bullpen, one of their guys there. I consider them a lot, but man, there's so many guys in those bullpens that they will go ahead and consider going forward. So we'll see how that goes with the Orioles. Brian Barker, word is he's kind of struggling a bit, or that was reported in a couple of different places. Alleged, reported in a couple of different places. The Orioles also too. Again, season starts pretty soon here. It's going to be, I think it's on Thursday, the 30th. Let's go ahead and get the stadium sold out there so the Orioles can go ahead and celebrate the new season there as well. I think their first game is on the road, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think the first game is to April. I'm checking it out. Games also too this year. When I was little, the games were at 8:05 on Friday nights. I don't know if some of you are old enough to remember the old games on Miller Stadium. They were 8:05 on Friday nights. Nowadays, they're going to start times during the weekday is going to be 6:35. So no longer even at 7 o'clock. Games are now going to start at 6:30. That matters as well because the games now are going to finish sooner on top of that. So a lot of these spring games, the times are way down. So like instead of you being there until 10 o'clock, 10-ish, you're getting on the light rail, you're getting in your car outside of Camden Yards, you might be getting out of there around 9:15. So you got time. Looks like the game April 6th is the opener. So the game April 6th is the day that the Orioles are going to be starting their season as well. A lot of the young players I thought have been fine. Some guys have been during the spring. No real big news there as far as that goes. So some guys were really struggling. I think a lot of their roster is already set. So we're going to go ahead and find out when we actually go ahead and get it to start. So definitely we will go ahead and keep an eye on that for you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and shut us down this week here. We want to thank you very much for joining us here at ravorisports, the Baltimore podcast. Definitely check us out in all of our social media platforms, all of our forums, everything that we're doing here at ravorisports. We appreciate any of you that have watched, and if this content was good, you appreciate it anyway. If you like sports, you can go ahead and like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. So thank you very much for joining us. You have a great rest of your week.